Imagine the vast expanse of our universe. It's hard to find someone who, pondering the scale of space, wouldn't feel a chill of fear from the endless void, the terrifying black holes capable of erasing matter, and the trillions of strange worlds, exoplanets so distant and mysterious they seem unreachable. Today we're going to tell you about 6 incredible exoplanets with conditions that resemble a true hell. These planets drift through space, completely isolated, and some of them even deceive astronomers. First on our list is Coro 7b. This exoplanet is known for its exotic precipitation, and no umbrella will help you here unless it's made of titanium. Meet Coro 7b, the planet where it constantly rains rocks. The size of this unusual planet is just over 1.5 times the size of Earth. It's about 1.5 billion years old and is relatively close, just 489 light-years away from us. When Coro 7b was first discovered in 2009, scientists believed it to be the first rocky exoplanet resembling Earth. However, we classify it as uninhabitable with 0 chance of life. If you ever get lucky enough to witness a sunrise on this planet, it will be the last thing you see. The rays of the morning star, Coro 7 from the constellation Monoceros, will turn you to ash as soon as the sun appears over the horizon. The reason why sunrise on this planet is much brighter is that Coro 7b is 60 times closer to its star than we are to the sun. Accordingly, the visible size of the Coro 7 star is 360 times larger than how we see the sun. The temperature on the sunny side of the planet can reach 4,700 degrees Fahrenheit, 2,600 degrees Celsius, making the surface so hot that rocks melt and vaporize. Then something incredible happens. The hot, vaporized rock rises into the upper atmosphere where it condenses, turning into fine gravel that falls back to the ground as it passes through a cold front. This phenomenon is called a literal stone rain. According to some theoretical models, you might find a whole ocean of lava on this planet. The situation is further complicated by the fact that the planet is tidally locked, with its burning and sulfurous side always facing the star, while the other side remains extremely cold, with surface temperatures reaching -390 degrees Fahrenheit, -235 degrees Celsius. Astronomers believe that Coro 7b initially formed as a gas giant 100 times larger than Earth. But as it approached its star, the gas envelope thinned under the influence of the solar wind, leaving only a rocky core. Such is the unenviable past and equally horrific present of Coro 7b. We hope the harsh conditions of this world haven't discouraged you, because we're moving on to the next planet. Although the next terrifying world doesn't have such hellish conditions, it definitely falls into the category of places you'd never want to get close to. On the way to JO 1407b, you'll encounter an endless belt of rocks and ice. It's tempting to compare this giant gas planet to our Saturn, because it's surrounded by enormous rings, which are 200 times wider than Saturn's rings. Saturn has only 3 main rings, while JO 1407b has 30 rings that stretch over 110 million miles. Stop and think about that. It's 20% more than the distance from Earth to the Sun, which is 93 million miles or 1.22 astronomical units. By comparison, the radius of Saturn's largest ring is only about 300,000 miles. Such rings can only form due to the massive destruction of the planet's moons. What could have happened? JO 1407b's mass is estimated to be between 10 and 40 times that of Jupiter. This enormous celestial body's gravity simply tore its moons to pieces. There's another theory suggesting that JO 1407b is not a gas giant, but an actual protostar that never became a brown dwarf. Currently, there is no consensus in the scientific community on how to properly classify such objects. Another argument supporting the theory that JO 1407b is an unfinished star is that this object orbits its star rather than around a mutual center of mass, as happens in binary star systems. Amazingly, these huge rings have a mass of only 734 x 10.21 tons. Why only? This impressive figure is comparable to Earth's mass, which is 5.9 x 10.21 tons. The history of JO 1407b may have seen many amazing and frightening events, one of which could be a collision with a moon somewhere between the size of Earth and Mars. The trace of this encounter is a large gap in JO 1407b's rings. Speaking of which, thanks to these gaps, scientists were able to detect this planet using the transit observation method. They managed to learn not only the size but also the position of the rings around the planet. Take a look at the visualization of Saturn's rings. It's truly a breathtaking sight. We can only imagine what it might look like if we were on J100 1407b or one of its moons. But that view would surely leave us speechless, our jaws practically hitting the ground. Now let's move a bit closer to home. About 80 light-years from the Sun is an object that can rightfully be called one of the loneliest in the universe. Interestingly, the planet with the complex name PSO J3 18.522 does not orbit a star. PSO J318 belongs to a special classification of planets known as rogue planets, sometimes called orphans or nomads. These planets are ejected from their planetary system and now simply wander through the infinite void of space. Paradoxically, the absence of a bright star actually helps astronomers. They can directly observe the light from PSO J318 without it being overshadowed by a host star. Since observations are conducted using the PS1 Pan-STARRS panoramic telescope, an excess of light interference from Earth is avoided, but thanks to hundreds of infrared photographs, the planet was detected. It is 8 times larger than our Jupiter and much brighter. Changes in its brightness revealed that the planet completes a full rotation every 5 hours and has several layers of thick and thin clouds with temperatures around 1470 degrees Fahrenheit. Observations conducted by a group of astronomers using a new telescope at the European Southern Observatory in Chile allowed them to create one of the first somewhat accurate weather forecasts for a celestial body outside our solar system. The approximate age of the planet is around 12 million years. Scientists aren't exactly sure how such planets form, but they suspect these objects were either failed stars, gas giants several times larger than Jupiter, or planets ejected from young planetary systems after colliding with another planet and being influenced by its gravitational field. Once detached from the gravitational pull of their original system, they are doomed to drift through space until they are eventually captured by the gravitational field of another star system. Because of this, there is an issue with classifying PSO J318 and similar planets, as many scientists lean towards calling such objects sub-brown dwarfs, hinting at their transitional state, not quite a star but also not exactly a planet or gas giant, at least not as we know them. Although scientists have records of quite a few rogue planets, this is just the beginning of their study. In the future, we will likely be amazed by new discoveries about the properties of these incredible interstellar objects. Next, we move on to a slow carousel of death, a place where we find WASP-12b, a planet scientists call doomed. Being on its surface is impossible for several reasons, but the main one is that the planet is literally being torn apart by its host star, sending pieces into space. According to its characteristics, WASP-12b is a gas giant with a radius about twice that of Jupiter. However, unlike Jupiter, which completes one full orbit around the Sun in 12 Earth years, WASP-12b orbits its star in just one day. Such speeds create incredible tidal forces on the planet's surface, causing it to deform. Scientists estimate that WASP-12b has the shape of an egg rather than a sphere. Astronomers believe that the planet cannot endure such torture for much longer, at most 10 million years, after which the planet will completely disintegrate, forming a cloud of gas and dust that will eventually be absorbed by the star. Additionally, the planet is speeding up, exchanging material with its star. Until now, scientists believed that this type of exchange was only possible between stars. The case of WASP-12b is the first confirmed instance of this phenomenon occurring with an exoplanet. This gravitational dance significantly heats the planet, raising its temperature to 4100 degrees Fahrenheit, which excludes any possibility of life on its surface. But 5 years after the planet's discovery, the Hubble telescope, using the spectroscopy method, detected signs of water vapor, a remarkable discovery given the conditions on this planet. Another shocking discovery is that the solid surface of this planet, if it indeed exists, could be made of graphite and diamonds. This is due to the high concentration and density of carbon in the planet's composition. Some media have even dubbed WASP-12b the diamond planet. But currently, scientists lean towards believing that most of the carbon is in the planet's atmosphere in the form of carbon monoxide and methane. Large amounts of carbon monoxide and methane were also detected on WASP-12b. Furthermore, in 2012, studies suggested that this planet might have a moon, WASP-12b1, with a radius 6.4 times that of Earth, which is only 3 times smaller than the planet itself. What are the conditions on this moon's surface? We can only speculate, but they are likely not much better than those of its disintegrating neighbor. Now, let's move on to a planet shrouded in true mystery, Fomalhaut b, formerly known as Dagon, a distant world that turned out not to exist. Intrigued? So let's dive into this story. Let's go back to 2004. The Hubble telescope discovered a giant cold disk of gas and dust. Theories immediately emerged about the object, including an estimate of a planet size that could be 3 times that of Jupiter. However, scientists never managed to see this large planet, which was supposed to orbit Fomalhaut, one of the brightest stars in the night sky, located relatively close, 25 light-years away. Studies showed that Dagon behaved very strangely. The object's speed constantly increased. 4 years later, in 2008, an image of Dagon caused a sensation in this scientific community. It turned out that the planet was much smaller than previously expected, with a mass somewhere between Earth and Mars. Dagon's dim infrared glow and its inability to influence the dust disk around Fomalhaut indicated a low mass. Moreover, the object's brightness decreased, and its size increased, and its orbital motion did not match the predicted data. Astronomers were at a loss because they had never seen anything like this before. In 2014, Dagon finally decided to amaze scientists and simply disappeared. Although the object was consistently recorded in previous years, starting from 2008, the planet began to increase in size and dim until it vanished completely. These events contradicted everything scientists knew about exoplanets. They had to practically reassess all the data to come up with a new, radical theory. The planet Dagon never existed. The new theory proposed by scientists suggests that the object initially interpreted as an exoplanet was a slowly dispersing dust cloud formed by a massive collision between 2 asteroids or protoplanets. This discovery is even more astonishing as collisions between 2 small celestial bodies are extremely rare. The collision likely occurred in 2004, when the Hubble telescope was surveying the area around Fomalhaut. The dust began to disperse, explaining the object's increasing size and decreasing brightness. The dust cloud formed by the collision accounts for the eccentric orbit. Thus, a series of incredible coincidences confused astronomers and created a beautiful legend about the strange and unpredictable planet Dagon, which does not look like a planet, does not move like a planet, does not orbit its host star on an elliptical orbit like a planet, but instead moves along a trajectory that ultimately takes it far from the star. Although Fomalhaut b lost its status as an exoplanet, there's no reason to be upset. Thousands of known and confirmed exoplanets are waiting for us, and will undoubtedly surprise us with their terrifying yet incredible characteristics. Now we journey to a planet that witnessed the first steps of our universe, an incredible world called Kepler-22b. It is only 13 light-years away, but its age is estimated at 11.5 billion years, which is roughly twice as old as our Earth, and just 2 billion years younger than the universe itself. But what amazes us is not just the age of this planet, but everything that could have happened on its surface throughout its existence. Kepler-22b's host star is classified as a red subdwarf and has an abnormal luminosity spectrum due to its age. The star emits almost 250 times less light than our Sun, and has a mass of only a quarter of the Sun's. Therefore, scientists claim that the planet is in the habitable zone. Despite being very close, only 0.168 astronomical units, even closer than the distance between the Sun and Mercury. Theoretically, the temperature on its surface allows water to remain in liquid form. Estimates suggest the temperature varies from 58 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius, on the dark side to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, on the side facing the star. All these parameters affect the Earth Similarity Index, ESI. As of the release of this video, the ESI for Kepler-22b is 0.67, similar to planets KOI-4, KOI-4501, and Kepler-62f, which are prime candidates for the discovery of extraterrestrial life. Of course, age alone is not a sufficient reason for the emergence of life forms, but it significantly increases the chances of the planet being habitable. The formation of life is a very long and complex process, and if 4.5 billion years were enough for life on Earth to develop to the point where you are now watching this video, then 11.5 billion years on Kepler-22b could have been at least sufficient for the development of microorganisms. Perhaps for many years ancient life forms have been carefully observing us.